Hi and welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all my quilty stitchy things. Today is my weekly update number 27. Today is August 7th, 2023. And yeah, I know I'm 2 days late. I normally do this on a Saturday and it's a Monday. But I didn't have a chance because I was out shop hopping. And I went to about 14 different quilt stores. Still got a few more to go. Ohio is having a quilt shop hop, and there's like 60 stores participating all over Ohio. And then you have 2 months to try and visit all these stores, and I'm going to try my best to get there. But I did 14 this weekend. But I'm going to do a separate video talking all about that and what I got and those sort of things. Now, as I've kind of gotten away from the last couple times, but I like to show a previous quilt that I have finished. And this is the one I'm showing today. Now this is actually a quilt that my mom and I did about 5 years ago, because we did it on my birthday, my 40th birthday, and today is my birthday. So that's why I pulled this one out. This was actually our long arming class that we took about 5 years ago, and this was our quilt sandwich, and I brought it home and I put a binding on it and made it a quilt. So yeah, the long arming is a bit rough, but that's okay. We all have to start anywhere, and I think it's good to show where you start from. So we'll go in a little closer and take a look at it. Okay, so we're gonna start at the top and work our way down. Now this was done by both me and my mother. My mom did some, I did some. And during this class, we just used different patterns to fill it up. But there it is. So that's the previous quilt I was showing today. Now, what did I quilt in this last week? Well, you're going to be surprised. I didn't quilt anything. And the reason being is I was kind of sick this week. I haven't actually touched my sewing machine in about a week. So the last time I sewed was a week from today, Monday. And then I was down for a few days. And then we went shop hopping this weekend. So I didn't actually quilt anything. I'll show you what I did sew, although that wasn't very much either. But we'll take a look at it anyway. So the first thing I sewed was the 2 accent blocks on my gnomes. And I did videos for this. This one, I had them all folded up, so now they're all wrinkly. But I did this accent block, and I did this accent block. Actually, it's not looking so bad, but when I first did it, I was a little bit disappointed, and I could tell I wasn't feeling good because some of the points weren't lining up so well. But actually, it doesn't look so bad now. That's how I could tell I was really feeling bad. But that's all right. You know, once I put it in a quilt top and put it on a long arm and quilt it, you're never going to notice it anyway. So, and actually, they're not as bad as what I thought. All right, so that's some of the sewing. So what else did I do? Well, I worked some more on my paper piecing pattern. So let me pull out this. This is this paper piecing pattern, which is a doozy. And I had shown last time that I had just sewn these and I needed to press them. So I pressed it and I started adding these other blocks on to kind of do the center of that. So I've got them pinned on. I don't have them pressed. And I've got a couple different units here. That's all going together. So let's see. I've got that unit. And this unit. Get this way. That will go something like that when they're sewn together. But I have a bunch of those units all pinned together to take to the sewing machine to get those together so I can start piecing this center together. Now, I also started cutting out this, and that was a lot of cutting, but I did do it. And there's all the pieces in there for that cutting. That one and this one. And here I started getting some stuff ready to go to the sewing machine. As you can see, I've got pieces pinned together. So when I take this, I can start sewing. Now this one only has 2 pieces to sew together for the tape you're piecing, and then I have to sew them together in those long lines. We've got some started there. So that did take quite a bit of time too, to get all that together and organized. And as I say every time, I think this pattern is overly complicated in the directions. I think there was a much simpler way to do this. I think it's too wordy. I honestly think they tried to make it simple by giving so much directions, but in the process they overcomplicated it. But that's okay. I still think it's a beautiful quilt. I'm still working through it, and I'm still getting it done, and it will get done. But, you know, and that's just my opinion about the pattern. But now that I've worked it through, I think I'm starting to understand their process. So what else did I do? Well, I worked on this pattern again, this Country Roads pattern. And before I had sewn the center of it all together, I just had to press it. So I did do some pressing, and now I'm working on adding some borders. So I pressed it, and I pinned that first border in. I'm not going to undo it completely, but there we go. And I've got that first border pinned on each side. So then after I do that, I'll pin that top and bottom border on. And then this is going to be a bigger border after that. And this is my binding. So I worked on that. And I only did one other thing as far as sewing and quilting went. And that was, I worked some more, oops, sorry, I worked some more on this awakening pattern. So now I'd previously had these blocks together. So this is something I'd already done, had those 9 patches together. And I had already had these 9 patches together. All of those were already sewn together. But I did finish sewing these 9 patches with the hourglass. Now I still have to press these. So I finished sewing those 2. And I finished sewing all of my triangle units. These big triangle units that go on the side because this is set on point. All these units. So that means all the units are actually sewn together now. So I can start piecing this together in rows, and it is set on point with some sashing and cornerstones. So the next time I work on a quilt project, that's what I'll be doing. I'll pressing those open and start working on pinning those rows together. So we can get that quilt top, the middle of that quilt top sewn together, and then start on those borders. So that's everything I worked on quilting and sewing this week. Now imagine what I could have got done if I hadn't been sick for those few days. But, you know, whatever. So this week I do want to try to quilt something. I'm not really sure. I know there's a quilt my mom wants me to quilt. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do that this week, but I'm going to try and quilt something. I also want to finish my July gnomes. I need to get them into a quilt top. And here, I'll just show you what these look like that I'd previously done. The girl. And yeah, they're all wrinkly from where I had them folded up and put away. And the boy. So hopefully I can sew those up into a quilt top sometime this week. We'll see. Now, what else did I work on? I did work on some cross stitching and crochet. So let's look at my cross stitching progress, where we're at so far. All right. Now this is 16 count Ada. And as I said, this is the project I've been working on for a while. This big band sampler, this long piece. And I'm doing it in 2 pieces because I didn't have one long enough in 16 count. So I just cut it up and did it in 2 pieces. And this is a previous reminder. This was the first part, the first half that I had done. And now I'm working on that second half. I just broke my wonder clip because I usually clip it together. I broke it. Oh well, that's okay. I got others. Now, last week I only had, I don't know, a couple of these. So now I'm working on these Christmas bulbs over here. I think I've got 3 more to do, or 2 more. Something like that. Let's see. 2 more. I got 2 more Christmas bulbs to do. Over here. And of course, I have to fill up the rest of this long piece. So I'll be working on that for a while. And then, my crochet. I've made lots of progress on that. So, let me pull that out. So, this is what I'm working on. This Cabernet cardigan. So, last week when I showed you, I had finished the back panel, finished the right panel, and I was still working on that left panel. So, I finished the left panel. I sewed the right and the back panel together and the left and the back panel together to form like a vest. And then I started on the sleeves. And I got the right sleeve all done. And now I'm working on the left sleeve. So, this was a little bit easier for me to work on this week when I wasn't feeling so well than sewing. So there it is. Let's see here. See, of course I still got my stitch markers on it, but there's one sleeve. There's the other sleeve I just started on. So I still have to finish that sleeve, and then I've got some edging to go all the way around it, and then that will be done. So, diamond painting. I didn't do anything on that this week. So, I guess that's everything I've worked on this week. All right. Now, I do have one thing that I do want to ask your opinion on. So my Creative Notion subscription box, I ended up canceling that. The last time I did my unboxing, they said they were going to be caught up by July. That hasn't happened. So I still have 3 boxes that I've paid for and haven't gotten yet. So when I do get those, I will be doing an unboxing on those. But in the meantime, I was considering getting a new subscription. What subscription would you get? I was thinking about Open Gates because I do like the fact that they're already kitted and everything's there. Or I was also thinking about the Cotton Kits Java Club because I do like batiks where you get like fat quarter bundle of batiks and you pick out a pattern. Although the pattern doesn't necessarily go with the batiks. But I was thinking about that, or maybe even the pre-cuts quilt box. What do you think? Let me know. All right, till next time. Bye.